Want to know the latest in soccer? Then listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast. From MLS, the World Cup, and the Premier League, we've got you covered. The latest updates, the hottest matches, and news on the league's top players. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast.
David Beckham scores the goal to take England all the way to the World Cup finals.
Listen now.
Thank you for listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast, where we discuss all of the news in the world of soccer, including the top games and competitions from all around the world. My name is Ben Brown, back in the studio on a Monday, looking forward to yet another action-packed show for you this week. Big storylines going on all around the world in soccer. As I mentioned, we are going to jump right in talking about the African Cup of Nations tournament currently going on in Gabon. It is right underway. Every single team has played at least 2 games. One team, or one group, I should say, Group A, has played 3. So Group A is completely done. So we'll have to find out who will be advancing in some of the rest of the groups with their games today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and Gabon are out in Group A after a 0-0 draw yesterday against Cameroon, so we'll talk about that, as well as some of the games that we have missed in the past week in the African Cup of Nations currently going on in Gabon. So the host nation are not going to be advancing into the quarterfinal stage because they finished 3rd in their group. We'll talk about that, as well as transfers in the first segment. In particular, one transfer I want to talk about. A certain player who used to play for Manchester United has moved on to Lyon. I want to talk about just exactly why that happened, how I think he will do in Ligue 1. Anyways, let's jump right in. So we last talked on Monday. Ivory Coast and Togo got a 0-0 draw, as well as on Monday, the Democratic Republic of Congo played Morocco, and Democratic Republic of Congo did win that game 1-0 over Morocco. On Tuesday, it was Group D action. Ghana get a 1-0 win with a goal from Andre Ayew over Uganda, and then Mali and Egypt played to a 0-0 draw. On Wednesday, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang did score for the host nation, but it was only good enough to get a 1-1 draw against Burkina Faso. And then, as well as on Wednesday, Cameroon with a 2-1 victory over Guinea-Bissau. Cameroon getting a couple of goals from Sebastian Siani and Michael Ngedu Ndaji. After coming from behind, they were down 1-0 in the 13th minute. So Cameroon comes from behind and gets a 2-1 victory on Wednesday. On Thursday, the biggest group right here, Group B action. Algeria got a 2-2 draw in their first game against Zimbabwe. And then against Tunisia, they lose 2-1. Algeria only 1 point through 2 games now. Going into today's game, the last game in the group stage, going to be very, very important. They jumped down 2-0. They got a goal in the 90th minute from Sofiane Hani, but it was not enough as they do lose 2-1 to Tunisia. And then Senegal, 2-0 over Zimbabwe on the same day. Sadio Mane scoring 2 goals in 2 games now in the 9th minute. And Henry Saviet scored in the 13th minute. Senegal, 2 wins through 2 games. They're looking absolutely fantastic right now. Definitely playing like one of the favorites in this tournament because really they have one of the best players. Sadio Mane, he's really putting on a good performance so far in the tournament. Definitely, in my opinion, the best performer of all. You look at Friday's game, Ivory Coast, they got a 0-0 draw in their first game. They get a 2-2 draw this game against the Congo. Wilfred Bony did score in the 21st minute, but it was not enough as they do earn a 2-2 draw against the Democratic Republic of Congo. And then Morocco, they lost their first game, but they bounced back with a 3-1 victory over Togo. They jumped down 1-0 in the 5th minute before getting 3 goals right back-to-back there and winning on Friday. Then you look at Saturday, Ghana get a 1-0 victory over Mali. So Ghana now with 2 wins through 2 games to get a goal from Asamoah Gyan, who plays for Juventus. And then Egypt, they get a 1-0 victory over Uganda. In the 89th minute, it's Abdallah El Said. He gets a goal to give Egypt a 1-0 victory. So Egypt now 4 points. And then you look on Sunday's games yesterday, the last game in the group stage for Group A. So Burkina Faso get a 2-0 victory, a goal in that game from Bertrand Traore over Guinea-Bissau. And then the Cameroon and Gabon play to a scoreless draw. Today's games, you have Senegal against Algeria, an absolutely monstrous game. Algeria have got to get all 3 points today, and they're going to be doing it against Senegal and Sadio Mane, who are playing fantastic. Zimbabwe against Tunisia is the other game. On Tuesday, Togo will battle the Democratic Republic of Congo. Morocco will battle Ivory Coast, a very important game there in Group C. And then Group D, the group stage action concludes on Wednesday in AFCON. It's Egypt against Ghana, the top 2 teams within Group D right now, and then Uganda and Mali. So we look at the table. So Group A, the group winner is Burkina Faso. Second is Cameroon. Burkina Faso with 5 points. Cameroon 5 points as well. But Burkina Faso do have the goal differential by 1, so they are ahead in Cameroon of Group A. Gabon just couldn't really get it done, couldn't get any wins. They draw all 3 games. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang did score in 2 of them. So I guess it's good news that Aubameyang is now out in Gabon because he will be able to turn back to Borussia Dortmund. So Bundesliga, Borussia Dortmund, and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang will be back soon. Look at Group B. There's still 1 game left to play, but Senegal have a commanding lead in Group B. They have 6 points. Tunisia in second with 3rd. Algeria, one of the surprises in my eyes, one of the favorites to win this tournament, given their talent. They have 2 points, through 2 games, only have 1 point. Zimbabwe in 4th, they have 1 point as well. And Algeria playing Senegal later today at 11 o'clock, so about an hour and a half from now. They're going to need to win against Senegal, who are playing fantastic. You haven't given up any goals. Sadio Mane is brilliant. Algeria are going to need a big effort today. You look at Group C, the Democratic Republic of Congo are in first with 4 points. Morocco, with their victory over Togo, have 3 points. Ivory Coast, with a couple of draws, are in third with 2 points. And then Togo rounding it out with 1 point in 4th. And then Group D, Ghana with 2 victories, 2 goals, none given up. They are in first with 6 points. You have Egypt in second with 4. Mali are in third with 1. And Uganda are out of it with no points through 2 games. So that's it for the AFCON. Definitely looking forward to the rest of these games. And then as we wind down into the quarterfinals, semifinals, and then the victors as well. So going to be very interesting to see what happens. I think right now, if I had to pick a favorite, I'd probably go with Senegal. I think the Senegal are absolutely playing on another level right now. Sadio Mane, 2 goals through 2 games, as I mentioned. He's probably the best player left in this tournament, or playing like it, given some of his success that he's had at Liverpool this year in the Premier League as well. So I'd probably give my edge to Senegal, and Algeria are going to need a big positive result today at 11 o'clock, about an hour and a half from now, as I mentioned. So now, to end the segment, we'll talk about a few transfers that have gone down so far within the past week, some updates on some guys. Diego Costa is back and playing for Chelsea, given his quote-unquote back injury, as Antonio Conte mentioned. He scored yesterday against Hull. We'll break that down in the next segment when we talk about the Premier League. So I don't think he'll be going anywhere in January. As far as going in the summer, there's a real possibility, I think, in my eyes. So, and then you look at another team in London, that's West Ham. Dimitri Payet, definitely not happy. A couple weeks back, he did mention he does not want to play for the Hammers anymore, and he has not played since. Marseille are doing everything they can to bring back Dimitri Payet, who came from Marseille to go to West Ham before the start of last season. They're doing everything they can to bring him back. They've had 3 bids rejected, according to reports, to bring back the French international. West Ham are simply just not in the mood to sell Dimitri Payet right now. And for me, kind of surprised. Dimitri Payet already came out and said he does not want to play for your club anymore. You're not going to put him in the lineup anymore. You might as well sell him while you have a chance. Probably they're going to do it in the summertime, but you could do it now. You might as well just do it now, move on, get over with it, and continue with your business. But maybe they feel like in the summer there might be some bigger suitors, maybe some more money out there. Have to wait and see what happens. But Marseille have had a 3rd bid rejected by West Ham to bring back Dimitri Payet. Speaking of West Ham, they did bring in a center back, though. His name is Jose Font. Jose Font, the club captain from Southampton. He is switching from Southampton to go to play at West Ham. It's about an £8 million fee. They could use some help, especially after Angelo Adbona did get injured for the rest of the season this weekend for West Ham, to pair along with Winston Reid there. That'd be a pretty good center back pairing, and they're kind of going with a 3-in-the-back formation recently, so they could definitely bring in some more center back help. He's a European Championship winner with Portugal and a guy who's been really, really good with Southampton and really experienced. So I guess I like the move in that aspect, although I don't see him staying there long term. He is going to have his contract expire at the end of the year. Could probably go otherwise. There were rumors maybe a while back that he could go to Manchester United, although he does go to West Ham. Speaking of Manchester United, that was the biggest transfer of the week. They have sent out a player. It's a €25 million transfer fee, and that is Memphis. Memphis Depay has gone from Manchester United to Lyon. He's going to the French League, Ligue 1, to play at Lyon. Going to be playing there with Alexander Lacazette. So not a bad move in that regards. For Lyon, I think it's a good move. You still have Memphis Depay, who is a really, really young player. Definitely disappointed at Manchester United. But honestly, I'll talk about it in just a minute. I don't think that's entirely his fault. So to bring in a guy that is really, really talented, really, really young still in his early 20s, like Memphis, I think it's a good move for a side like Lyon, who are trying to work their way up the Ligue 1 leaderboard right now, the table. They got a lot of competition right now. Monaco, Nice, Paris Saint-Germain are always the top powerhouse. So they need to do something to strengthen their attack, and bringing in a guy like Memphis Depay, I think, is a good reason. The French League, not one of the best leagues in the world, not too many top quality center backs in there. A lot of goals are capable of scoring in there. Think about this. Mario Balotelli was not able to do anything at Liverpool. He didn't really have much success at AC Milan after that. He goes to Nice, and he's one of the top scorers in the league. Radamel Falcao couldn't do much at Manchester United, couldn't do much at Chelsea. He returns back to Monaco, one of the top scorers in the league. Memphis Depay could be one of those next examples. I really do think that, because he has the talent. We've seen it. We know he has the potential. I think for me, stepping into Manchester United, the history of that club, and especially wearing the number 7 shirt. Think about the history of wearing number 7. Eric Cantona, Cristiano Ronaldo, David Beckham, among others. You're going in there and you're putting on that number 7 shirt. Even Angel Di Maria couldn't do it. Angel Di Maria wore number 7. And I don't think he did bad at Manchester United because he wore number 7. But, I mean, that's a lot of pressure. Those are some really, really big shoes to fill by wearing that kit for that club. And he just couldn't get it done. Even Di Maria couldn't get it done. Memphis Depay, at a young age, only 21 years old, going into Manchester United, a big transfer fee, being talked about maybe being the next Cristiano Ronaldo. Those are some absolutely massive shoes to fill. And Louis van Gaal put it right on him. The Dutchman, he brings in a Dutch player. It makes sense, but he put a lot of pressure on him, and he just really couldn't live up to the potential. He got replaced. Anthony Martial started playing fantastic. Marcus Rashford worked his way into the side. So there's a lot of options at Manchester United, a lot of attacking options. So to get rid of Memphis, who hasn't even started a game all year long, it makes total sense to me. I hope he can sort of turn it around and regroup and have a great career, because he has a lot of potential. He's a good attacking player. He's got good dribbling, and he can finish in front of the goal. So I hope that he can turn it around at Lyon. Some other small ones. Christian Pulisic, the American, has extended his Dortmund deal until 2020. Definitely really, really excited. Like I said, he's American. You don't see too many American soccer players around the world, with the exception of the MLS, that are really, really doing a lot of top things. So I'm happy to see that he was able to have success, and he's been having a lot of suitors. People maybe wanting him in Liverpool. It would make sense. Jurgen Klopp is around there. So I guess that would make some sense. But now he's staying at Dortmund until 2020. So that would definitely mean if someone wants to bring him in, as far as a transfer would be concerned, it would cost him a lot more money. So we'll take our first break at the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast. After the break, we're going to talk about some of the results that have happened within the past week in soccer, Inter Milan staying hot in Serie A, and the return of the Bundesliga, among others. Right after the break, right here at the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back into the show. We'll talk about some of the results within some of the top nations and leagues around Europe. We'll start off with the Premier League as always. Match day number 22 in England. It started off with a bang. Saturday morning, or I guess you can say Saturday afternoon if you're over in Europe. Liverpool at home at Anfield against bottom of the table Swansea City. You would imagine it would be kind of an easy run of things. Not too much trouble by Swansea. Not a good side. You're at home. You're at Anfield where you have not lost all year long. You imagine it wouldn't be too hard of a go at things, right? Swansea City beat Liverpool 3-2. Couple of goals by Fernando Llorente before Gylfi Sigurdsson is able to put it away. Roberto Firmino scored twice to equalize it at 2-2, but Gylfi Sigurdsson in the 73rd minute does get the winner for Swansea City. So Paul Clement, in his second game in charge of the Swans, has his first victory, and it couldn't have come at a better time against Liverpool on the road. You're trying to fight a relegation battle. You're bottom of the table. An absolutely huge win. Liverpool dropped 3 points at home against a side they absolutely should have beaten without Sadio Mane now. We've talked about it on the show the last couple of weeks, how that would affect them. Without Sadio Mane, Liverpool have 1 win in 6 games. I'm not going to say it's entirely because of Sadio Mane, but when you lose a player of his capability and how he's been playing this year, it's a big, big loss, and I think it's having some sort of effect on the Reds. Not going to say totally, but it's having some. There's no doubt about it. Sadio Mane's been a fantastic player for Liverpool, one of their stand-up performers, I say, as well as maybe Adam Lallana this year. So it's a big, big loss, and they definitely do miss him out on that right-hand side. But he has nothing to do with them giving up 3 goals, honestly. Just not really good. Just poor defending. Not a good result there. You got to win against Swansea City, and especially when you're at home at Anfield. West Brom pick up another win. They're 2-0 over Sunderland. Sunderland now bottom of the table. They're definitely just one of the worst teams. I think it's for certain they get relegated. Everton, they leave it late. Seamus Coleman with the 87th minute winner over Crystal Palace 1-0. West Ham get a couple of goals from Andy Carroll to beat Middlesbrough 3-1. Definitely not having any sort of effect without Dimitri Payet. They're playing really well right now. Stoke City and Man United get a 1-1 draw. Manchester United's legend, Wayne Rooney, he scores from an improbable angle in my eyes, a free kick in stoppage time to get the equalizer. But the story of the game is Wayne Rooney gets his 250th career Manchester United goal, which breaks Sir Bobby Charlton's record at 249. So Wayne Rooney now the all-time scoring leader at Manchester United. 250 goals, a record I honestly do not think will ever get broken. Because look at the state of soccer right now. Look at football. People don't stay at a club for a very, very long time like they used to. They kind of jump around all over the place every 3, 4, 5 years. In order for you to get 250 goals at a club, Wayne Rooney's been there 12 years. That's a long time. 12 years? I don't see anyone doing that again. 250 goals? I just don't see it. So congrats to Wayne Rooney. Although they do drop points to Stoke City, they get a 1-1 draw. Definitely disappointing for some of their top 4 chances. But congrats to Wayne Rooney, now the all-time league scorer for Manchester United. Bournemouth and Watford play to a draw, 2-2. And then the I guess you say the nightcap or the afternoon game on Saturday, the biggest game of the week, Manchester City against Tottenham. The game finishes 2-2. Tottenham get a 2-2 draw on the road at the Etihad after trailing 2-0. To me, that's an absolutely massive point for them, especially for their top 4 chances so they can return back to the Champions League. They were down 2-0, as I mentioned. Ironically, some really, really bad goalkeeping by Hugo Lloris. Both goals for Manchester City led because of errors by Lloris. He let one ball go right by him. He tried to head it. He thought he was outside the box when he really wasn't, and Leroy Sané just basically tapped it in. And then a cross came in, and Lloris just couldn't really control it. Didn't really get it cleanly. It jumped out of his hands before Kevin De Bruyne tapped that in. They had a couple of goals back, one from Son as well as one from Dele Alli to equalize at 2-2. Manchester City almost won. We saw the debut boy, Gabriel Jesus. He almost scored in stoppage time. He actually did score, but he was offside, so the goal did not count. So a 2-2 draw there for Manchester City and for Tottenham. A good result there for Tottenham after how they were trailing so much in the game. You turn over to Sunday's action. Southampton get a 3-0 victory over Leicester. Leicester City, a dream season last year, but they're literally not the same team at all. They don't have Riyad Mahrez right now because of AFCON. I don't think any club misses a certain player more than Leicester City miss N'Golo Kante in the midfield right now. They're just not a good team. They're going to be fighting a relegation battle the whole rest of the season. Chelsea pick up a 2-0 victory over Hull City. Diego Costa did score in that game. Story of that game, definitely Ryan Mason and Gary Cahill. Really nasty collision, a head-to-head collision, which resulted to Ryan Mason having to have emergency surgery last night. He was bleeding from the brain. He also has a fractured skull, so don't expect to see him anytime soon. He's in stable condition, so he is doing okay. He's talking this morning, so he's doing a lot better. But he was at one point maybe fighting for his life, and this could definitely be a career-threatening injury for the former player from Tottenham. So hopefully that Ryan Mason can do okay. And then the other game on Sunday, there was definitely a lot of fireworks in Arsenal's 2-1 victory over Burnley. They opened up the scoring from a corner by Shkodran Mustafi, his first career goal for Arsenal, And then this is where all the action happened. So in the 65th minute, Granit Xhaka gets a straight red for Arsenal. Kind of a really reckless, stupid, two-footed challenge. It wasn't necessarily a terrible challenge, but anytime you go in with 2 feet like that, it's definitely not a good situation and not a good idea. So he gets a straight red. So from that point on, Arsenal are basically trying to kind of just defend, hold a 1-goal lead, and try and keep the 3 points, especially given some of the results that happened. Liverpool lose, Manchester City and Tottenham both drop points, so there's a big chance with the victory, Arsenal would have gone second. So what happens? In stoppage time, Andre Gray converts a penalty. Francis Coquelin gives a penalty in the box in the 92nd minute, so Andre Gray gets a penalty to give Burnley a 1-1 draw at the time. And you're thinking to yourself, okay, like this game is absolutely over. It's going to end in a draw. Arsenal have 10 men. There's no way they can come back from this. Well, not so much. In the 97th minute, the last minute of the game, a ball comes in from Alexis Sanchez, which results in a high kick from Ben Mee, who kicks Laurent Koscielny pretty much right in the face. He maybe grazed him a little bit. He didn't really get him cleanly. But still, he gets a high kick right in the face. So a penalty occurs. And then Alexis Sanchez steps up to the penalty spot and converts basically right at the end in the 98th minute, the last kick of the game, converts the winner for Arsenal. So they escape at home with a 2-1 victory over Burnley FC. So now you look at the updated Premier League table. Chelsea, with their victory, they still stay 8 points clear of now second place Arsenal with 47 points. Tottenham in third with 46 after their draw to Manchester City. Liverpool's loss puts them fourth at 45. They went from second all the way to fourth simply because of one loss. You have Manchester City in fifth with 43 points. Manchester United in sixth with 41 points. Then here's where it gets a little bit of a gap. Everton in seventh with 36 points. West Brom in eighth with 32 points. Really, really good year for West Brom so far. And then you have Stoke in 9th with 28 points and West Ham in 10th with 28 points. West Ham at one point were fighting a relegation battle, so it's good to see them going back up. You look at the bottom of the table now. Sunderland are last with 15 points. Hull City second to last with 16. Crystal Palace in 18th with 16. And then Swansea City with their victory All other 3 clubs do lose, so they gain 3 points on those 3. So they are now 2 points clear of safety at 18 points. So a good win there for Paul Clement's side to get their 5th victory of the season. So, I mean, just look at 2nd through 6th, separated by simply 6 points. So the race for the top 4 in the Premier League is going to get very, very interesting. I think Everton are probably too far out of it. They're 9 points out of 4th right now. So, I mean, I think that's too far to come back. But they're having a good season under Ronald Koeman as well, with 10 victories. So the race for the top 4 is going to be really, really interesting. Chelsea are going to be within the top 4, that's for sure. But other 3, whether it be Arsenal, Tottenham, Liverpool, or the 2 Manchester sides, it'll be really, really interesting to see what happens. And every single game is going to be very, very important. The Premier League is on a break this week. It is FA Cup action, 4th round action, so we'll save that for the rest, and then we'll just kind of take a 2-week break from the Premier League. Switching over now to La Liga, talking some results within Spanish top flight. On Friday, Las Palmas played Deportivo. It was a 1-1 draw. Espanyol pick up a 3-1 victory over Granada. Real Madrid get a couple of goals from Sergio Ramos in the first half to get a 2-1 victory over Malaga to return back to their winning ways. They were on a 2-game losing streak after their 40-game unbeaten streak was snapped last week to Sevilla, as we talked about. Alaves and Leganes played to a 2-2 draw. Valencia win over Villarreal 2-0. Sevilla, a 4-3 victory over Osasuna. Definitely some fireworks there. They're up 4-2, and then Osasuna equalized. Well, not equalized, but they scored within the final minute to try and make it a little close. So fireworks going on there. A really, really high-scoring game there. But Sevilla do pick up the victory and stay second within La Liga. Atletico Madrid, they rescue a point. Does Antoine Griezmann with a goal from outside the box against Athletic Bilbao. It's a 2-2 draw there. Atletico Madrid is not really having it this season. Just kind of their defense is kind of falling back. They don't really give up 2 goals in a game. Well, a lot of times they're doing it this year, just kind of suffering a little bit as opposed to some of these other top clubs in Spain. Real Sociedad pick up a 1-0 victory over Celta Vigo. Real Betis and Sporting Gijon play to a 0-0 draw. And Barcelona pick up a big 4-0 victory over Eibar as they look to keep the pressure on Real Madrid. A goal for Lionel Messi as well as Luis Suarez. So you look at the La Liga standings. Real Madrid still in first with a game in hand at 43 points. Sevilla in second with 42, just 1 point behind. And then you have Barcelona. They're third with 41 points. And then here's where it gets kind of a little bit of a gap. Atletico in fourth with 35 points. Real Sociedad in fifth with 35 points. And Villarreal in sixth with 31 points after their surprising loss to 15th place Valencia. You look over now to the Bundesliga. We had the return of the Bundesliga after their sort of winter break, their month off. They are back in action. Bayern Munich opened it on Friday with a 2-1 victory over SC Freiburg. A couple of goals for Robert Lewandowski. On Saturday was the majority of the action. Wolfsburg pick up a 1-0 victory over Hamburg. Schalke pick up a 1-0 victory over Ingolstadt. Dortmund without Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang get a 2-1 victory over Werder Bremen. Darmstadt and Borussia Mönchengladbach play to a 0-0 draw. Hoffenheim stay unbeaten in the Bundesliga with a 2-0 victory over Augsburg. RB Leipzig returned back to their winning ways with a 3-0 victory over Eintracht. 1 goal in that game from Timo Werner. Bayer Leverkusen with a 3-1 victory over Hertha Berlin. And Mainz and Cologne played to a 0-0 draw. So Bayern Munich stay 3 points clear atop the Bundesliga over RB Leipzig, who are second with 39 points. Hoffenheim, as I mentioned, are still unbeaten, although they only have 7 victories to go along with 10 draws. They have 31 points. So a big gap there between second and third, 8 points. Then you have Dortmund with the victory. They jumped all the way up to fourth with 30 points. Hertha Berlin, 30 points as well. They're in fifth, and Eintracht in sixth. FC Cologne in seventh with 26 points, and then Bayer Leverkusen in eighth with 24 points. So Dortmund slowly working their way up the leaderboard again. They'll get Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang back sooner rather than later because Gabon is out of the AFCON now. So I think really they're just 1 point behind third place Hoffenheim, who are still unbeaten. Crazy to think. But there's no reason they shouldn't be able to get at least third. They're 9 points back of RB Leipzig. So if Leipzig can continue the success they had in the first part of the Bundesliga season that they are looking to have in the second half, then they should still be up there and be okay. Only 2 losses, one of them coming to Bayern Munich. They were atop the leaderboards for a while. They're having a dream season, a lot like Leicester City did last year. So that'll be interesting to see what happens. We're going to switch over to Serie A now. Serie A on Saturday, Fiorentina pick up a 3-0 victory over Chievo. Napoli get a couple of goals within the first 10 minutes to pick up a 2-1 victory over AC Milan. Goal from Lorenzo Insigne and Jose Callejon. Napoli is still playing fantastic even without Gonzalo Higuain, who they sold last year to the Juventus. Dries Mertens up front, Lorenzo Insigne, as well as Jose Callejon are playing fantastic. That front three is really, really solid. Juventus get a goal from Paulo Dybala as well as Gonzalo Higuain to pick up a 2-0 victory over Lazio. Inter Milan win their 6th straight within Serie A with a 1-0 victory over Palermo. João Mario had the scoring in the 65th minute. Inter Milan, like I said, 6 victories in a row now within Serie A, so they're slowly working their way up that leaderboard. A lot of good teams, really, really competitive this year in Serie A. Although Juventus are still the top team, although Juventus are still the top team, a lot of clubs are still fighting with them and battling. Napoli, AC Milan's been good. Now you have Inter doing a lot better. Bologna pick up a 2-0 victory over Torino. Sassuolo with a 3-1 victory over Pescara. Empoli with a 1-0 victory over Udinese. Genoa and Crotone play to a 0-0 draw. Roma get a goal from Edin Dzeko to beat Cagliari 1-0. They still have not given up a goal in any game within 2017, the calendar year. Roma staying second in the Serie A. We'll talk about the table in just a sec. And Atalanta with a 1-0 victory over Sampdoria. So when you look at the Serie A table, Juventus, although they do have a game in hand, are only 1 point atop Roma. Napoli are in third with 44 points. Lazio in fourth with 40 points. Then you have Inter Milan in fifth with 39 points. Atalanta sixth with 38. AC Milan do have a game in hand, so they sit seventh with 37 points. So technically with a victory, they could jump as high as fourth, maybe even fifth, depending on goal differential, if they were to win that game. And then you have in eighth is Fiorentina with 33 points. So kind of interesting. I mean, you have second, third, and fourth, even in fifth, only separated by 8 points. So it kind of reminds me of a lot like the rest of some of these top leagues, kind of being more competitive as opposed to teams running away with it, which we've seen in the past. Juventus have run away with things in the past, PSG in the French league, and then you have Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga have kind of run away with things, but not so much this year. We're still kind of early. We're like midway through the table on all these respective leagues as far as their season goes. So we could have some fireworks late in the year, but everything's kind of staying steady, and it makes for a better league. It makes for a more competitive league, some more storylines, and it's not so fun to see one team run away with everything. Honestly, it's just not necessarily the best thing. Now we'll look at the French League, Ligue 1. On Friday, Nice get their second consecutive draw in a row against Bastia. It was a 1-1 result. PSG get a couple of goals from Edinson Cavani to beat Nantes 2-0. Metz pick up a 2-0 victory over Montpellier. Dijon and Lille play to a 0-0 draw. Bordeaux and Toulouse. Bordeaux wins 1-0. Jean-Camp and Rennes draw at 1-1. Monaco returning back to their winning ways with a commanding 4-0 victory over Lorient. Auxerre pick up a 2-1 victory over Angers. And Lyon, we saw Memphis Depay come on, although he did not score. They pick up a 3-1 victory over Marseille in the French League. So you look at the updated table. Monaco do sit top since Nice did draw. They have 48 points. They've scored 64 goals this year. Absolutely crazy. Nice second, as I mentioned, with 46. PSG creeping back up there. They're only 3 points off the top now. They have 45 points, and then there's a big gap. Lyon do have a game in hand, so they could make it 40 points. But right now they sit fourth with 37. Jean-Camp in fifth with 31, and then a couple of teams in sixth and seventh with 30 points. We'll take our last break of the show. After the break, we'll talk about some of the games upcoming this weekend, including a big one in League One. We'll start off with that right after the break at the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
Welcome back into the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast. We're going to end the show looking ahead, looking to some of these games upcoming on Friday in League One. Marseille will battle Montpellier. On Saturday, the big game on Sunday is when we have a really, really interesting day in League One. On Sunday, Paris Saint-Germain will battle Monaco. Monaco, of course, first, PSG in third, but they are only 5 points back. So if PSG were to win this game over Monaco, technically they'd be equal on points, although Monaco will have the goal differential lead. Unless, PSG are going to make up 17 goals, a 17-0 victory. I don't think that, definitely not happening. But so PSG could go level atop Ligue 1 if they do get a victory over Monaco. Nice will be battling Genkamp. That's another top matchup there. Genkamp in 5th right now, so Nice will not have an easy run of things. They do only have 1 loss within the league, do Nice, but they have 7 draws, which is definitely hurting their case to obviously be more ahead because they just can't simply win games. Just getting a lot of results, but a lot of draws. So there we have that. As far as Serie A, some of the big games, we'll have to see if Inter Milan can win their 7th in a row. They'll be battling Pescara. Roma, we'll see if they can keep their goalless streak going on where they just have not given up any goal in 2017. They'll be battling Sampdoria. Juventus will battle Sassuolo. Napoli will take on Palermo. And then on Saturday, we do have Lazio and Chievo, Cagliari and Bologna, Fiorentina and Genoa as well. Look over at the Bundesliga really quickly. On Friday, we have Schalke. They'll be taking on Eintracht. Werder Bremen will battle Bayern Munich. RB Leipzig against Hoffenheim. Number 2 versus number 3 in the Bundesliga. Definitely a very, very big matchup there. See if Leipzig can continue their winning ways as they try to keep pace with Bayern Munich. And we'll see if Hoffenheim will have their first loss of the season. For me, I'm going to say this game will be a draw because pretty much every other Hoffenheim game is a draw. Still unbeaten, 10 draws in the league. I have to see if Leipzig and Timo Werner as well as Forsberg can help them keep pace against Bayern Munich. Wolfsburg will battle Augsburg. Ingolstadt will battle Hamburg. Bayer against Bayern. It's Bayer Mönchengladbach against Bayer Leverkusen. We have Darmstadt against FC Cologne. And on Sunday, FC Freiburg will battle Hertha Berlin. And Mainz will take on Borussia Dortmund. You look at La Liga on Friday. Osasuna will battle Malaga. On Saturday, Villarreal against Granada. Alaves will take on Atletico Madrid. Eibar will battle Deportivo La Coruña. Leganes will take on Celta Vigo. On Sunday, Real Betis will take on Barcelona. Espanyol will battle Sevilla, see if Sevilla can keep pace. Atletico Bilbao will be battling Sporting Gijon. And Real Madrid will battle Real Sociedad. So on Sunday, top 3 teams all in competition at the same time. Well, not the same time, but on the same day. So interesting to see as we update you next Monday if the La Liga table has changed at all. As I mentioned, the Premier League is on a break this week. They are in the FA Cup. It is the 4th round of the FA Cup, so we'll not really talk about that, not getting too far into it right now. But we'll talk next week about the Premier League as action returns. A couple of games that are really looking forward to. So we'll take sort of our signing off here. We're going to take it a day. We're going to call it a day. That's it. We've reached the full 90. There's no extra time. The final whistle has blown, and we are in full time right here at the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast. That's going to end our show for today. I'd like to thank you for listening. Of course, as always, my name is Ben. I'll be back next Monday to talk all things soccer right here at the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast. Have a good day, have a good week, and I will see you next time.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.